Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Ruckus. And my mom sports, together we got NFL Ruckus. That said, this is episode 5. Got a lot to get through. I think the first group we went through were wide receivers, so that was also much fun for some folks. Some of you watching were very, very hurt by how we felt about some of your favorite players. And there are no apologies here. We will only see what happens, just things that we don't like. If they end up in situations where they do better, that is wonderful. There's nothing, no one here has any issue with being wrong. But again, it's what we like and don't like, and that's not the end all be all. That's what no one ever is going to do here. That said, we got Justin Walters, Jesse Peel, we got Raymond, I'm Wilson. Look, man, we get into corners again. We're gonna get we're gonna get to that place where some of you get really upset. I foresee that each and every one of these, probably a notch above the wide receivers, because Justin hates at least 3 of your favorite corners. So we're going to blame him first, and then we're going to get to the rest of it. Tonight, we're talking J.C. Horn, Greg Newsome II, Sante Samuel Jr., Tyson Campbell, and Keldon Joseph, depending on and Marco Wilson, I'm sorry. Then we got a couple others that are going to, kind of talk by in passing. They're not going to get the same amount of time devoted to them as everyone else. If you guys request that later on, we'll see what happens between you and Justin. I just work it. Let's get started. J.C. Horn, right? So, anybody want to lead in what you think about the young quarter for South Carolina? Some people pay this guy CB1, man. And, he's already there for some folks. So it's to some folks he can do no wrong. Then you got the opposite end of the spectrum where some people are like, man, you can't take him in the first round. He's a second round pick. But, people doing what they normally do. They're going crazy. So we're going to try to find a happy medium here and see what you guys think. Anxious to say what Ray, see what Ray comes away with. But here we go with J.C. Horn. Justin and Jesse, take us away.
Once again, man, these are all talented corners. These are all talented football players and top 35 to 50 picks. So with that being said, we're talking about a competitive player, super athletic, fast, strong, good length, just plays angry, which is his biggest strength. And I think that's the draw for most people is just how angry he plays. And he takes the biggest challenges and doesn't back down from anybody. But the grabbing thing, he's very, very handsy, which, again, everyone in the NFL puts, pass interference to a degree. But the question really with him going forward is it fixable? And what's the reason for it? Is this just putting hands on because, whatever, he just does it because in college you can put your hands on downfield, or is it something that he's dependent on? And I think that's my concern watching him is his reaction anytime he's beat is both hands go out in to grab or to kind of like it's not really a jam, so it's more like a safety mechanism. And even just sometimes you could see in the change of direction issues he has because the little tight is he goes hands on to keep himself balanced or to use to help himself change direction. So that's like an issue, something that kind of bothers me with him. But again, he's such a talented player and he plays hard and physical and aggressive and just. I think he's going to be a solid player. I think the system where he goes plays a major part for him, even more so than the other guys, because he really needs to be in a pressing situation.
Completely agree. One of the things that stood out to me was the fact that he's aggressive, strong. Sometimes he looks like a natural mover at certain points as long as the receiver's in front of him. He'll get in there for tackles. Like he will move past the block. He'll move past anybody at that point to make form tackles. So I like corners who are kind of got that dog in them like that to where they're gonna make tackles. The thing is, there's moments where Justin said he gets grabby, but he also plays high at certain points out of a stance. So in situations like that, you're almost begging for, somebody to double you up or just your technique gets sloppy. There was a play, I think it was the Georgia game, so where he's playing off. And he went to try to transition from his back pedal to flipping his hips, and he almost fell. Like, it just looked really, really bad. So in those situations, you kind of wonder, all right, is this something that's a problem? Like Justin said, is this a problem you can fix? Or is this something that's just a part of his game when people kind of glitch out at certain points when they got to lock in? Is that something that's going to show itself? And you got to ask these questions about a guy you're taking really high in the draft. So this is not somebody that, it's okay. There's small things we got to fix here and there, but it's something that if you're taking somebody that high in the draft, you're really asking the question, is it worth that pick?
Yes, it's the fun thing, right, man? It's the questions. And just going into this story about these positions and just again looking with JC, there's so much that he does well, right? And I think sometimes people gotta, like, this is the tough part, is because he does so many things well, we gotta figure out, are we projecting that he could fix all of the things that he doesn't do well? Or is it legit things that, where it's legit coachable? So that's the distinction, right? And obviously that ends up that, a big part of where you end up matters. He's not the first or last corner that came in the league with some issues that was handsy or whatever. Then, they get somewhere, clean it up a little bit. And not to say they're still going to be handsy, but they get better in terms of how to get away with it, right? So I guess that's one of the things where, I guess for me is, I like what he brings to the game. I like that he doesn't have the issue finding the ball. He really doesn't. So I feel like I guess the toughest part for me is just he's got to work on his technique to where he's comfortable for the way that people are gonna threaten him to beat him, that he doesn't end up like out of there, because that's what you don't want. And that's I think some of this is what happens is he's a guy that when he gets beat, it's bad. You know what I'm saying? And I think I want to make sure that we're not getting to something where we're judging because of how bad he got beat versus how bad someone else gets beat. Where, he's getting beat, but at the same time, there are times that he wins. I guess my thing, me personally, where he is, I probably would like him if I could probably play him inside, because again, 10 years ago, somebody with his issues, it'd probably be a little bit more tough. Because like all the stuff that you guys saying, we probably not putting you out there anyways. But for me, I'm gonna put your super handsy button on somebody inside. Go bully somebody in the slot. Like, that's me. Go pick them up, move them, do whatever you want to do to them. Because most slot corners, they don't have that size. You know what I'm saying? They can't put hands on you like that. And he's probably gonna be, for the most part, outside of when you get the big slots inside, it probably doesn't hurt you that much. So when you move your bigger dude inside, he's comfortable with that type of wide receiver. It's just figuring out when he's on the little quick guys, just him doing a better job and probably being more patient. And kind of like, I think, and we're going to get to another guy that, Jess and I both like. And I think the thing is when he gets to his, oh no, it's just a really dark place to, oh no, that, he can't really recover from. Then I guess the part, if you're a coach, is kind of like, well, can I fix the stuff to keep him from getting to that place? Because other people have the same issues. They just way better at like, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm not going to let you take me that far down the rabbit hole. Like, we're only going here and we're coming back out. And I think with him, some of it might just be somebody fixing his technique a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, no, definitely to go with that. I think, like you said, he's young, and he's really only been playing the position for a little while. So, I think just that situation of grabbing, I think it only gets exposed as you start to play against better competition. So I think true route runners who can kind of move them around a little bit, that's where you really see the hands come out. You see the confidence against a guy like Seth Williams, a bigger receiver, where he can, his footwork and ability, he can kind of dictate the matchup. And I think that's his whole game, basically, with the hands and everything, is he needs to control the receiver. That's why he gets his hands on the receiver and he's in control. And I think when you get guys like a Devontae Smith or different NFL receivers, basically polished NFL receivers, that's where you're going to see that panic, when that's where the arms come out. That's just his reaction. You can go to his highlight film, and the highlights have grabs in it. So I think that's his game right now. And until he breaks that habit, it's just going to become becoming more comfortable. And I think, like you say, it's basically the better route runners are taking you to the deep end. He's in the short end, he puts his hand out, he's comfortable. But when he gets a little bit of space and he can't throw his hands right on you, like a receiver takes a half step, Ray, you know how it is. you get a good jam on a receiver, he takes a little half step back, and now you're like, oh, now what? And I think that's the issue he's having. And I think just another thing, a thought I had was he's basically like a UFC fighter going to a boxing match. You know what I mean? And the rules are slightly different. You can't hold and punch. You actually got to use your technique. And I think that's what he has to figure out is how to box, basically.
Fellas, Wilson, don't get mad at me because you got to work with me. I want to make sense of this. You're saying this guy has a lot of great skills, and I'm loving everything you guys are saying, but you're basically going, we got a quarterback with a great arm, great feet, really accurate, but can't throw out routes. And it's like, that's kind of a big deal, fellas. Like, especially on the level of competition that he's going to. So just walk me through this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, I'm hearing everything you're saying, but that's kind of a big deal, especially at the next level. So the only thing I'm writing down are, okay, so Jesse, if we're going to draft him high, are we drafting a slot guy that high? And if we're drafting him that high and he's only going to play slot, I'm not drafting him that high. Wilson, are you saying that he's only going to be productive probably in the slot the first couple of years until we work those kinks out?
No, I'm saying like most players with this draft, and that's like literally the theme of this draft, right? Nobody's close to finished. Like this is literally one of those drafts where they tease you with so many things. These kids ain't close to finished. And that's just legitimately it. Like even like I know we're not talking about quarterbacks tonight, but you got someone like Mac who to some people his 17 games or whatever, he showed folks a little bit more of exactly what you would like. Then you might see somebody else. You bring up Trey, also 17 starts, but in his 17, some of the things that he did, they might not look as polished, but some of the things that he does on the regular are things that the other dude can't do at all, and will never be able to do. So, like, I think that's the tough part with JC is he's one of those dudes where prototypical size, he got all the stuff that you want. You're going to have to teach, man. You're going to have to teach. And I think that's the biggest thing on him. Like, I've been all over the place with this kid about how I feel because I've been high, like really rude and whatever. And then with Justin was just like, he's kind of still new to the position. I'm like, all right, cool. That actually makes a little bit more sense. So, like, again, if you're just teaching someone how to swim or whatever, they comfortable when they can see the floor. They get into the deep and all of a sudden, oh my God, them arms start going wild, like my feet by themselves. And if that's all it is, you just got to teach. Now, if you don't got somebody on staff that can teach, you need to leave that boy alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess that's my biggest thing is I get what people like in him. He's just not as far along as what some of the other guys do naturally. He's behind on. But at the same time, you got some of them dudes where they could do everything, but you're like, bro, can you care? Could you maybe care like JC cares?
No. I'm completely hearing all of you guys out. It's just that
it's tough, dog.
Like, drives are won and lost on that third and four quick out route with that little tug or whatever. And if you're saying he got a problem with that, we can mess this kid's confidence up in the first year.
Nah, you're not gonna mess his confidence.
Nah, he's not. He's not. That's the one thing with him is he's
Yep.
Yeah, okay. His confidence could be great, but I'm gonna sit him on the bench if he do it too many times in a game.
Start killing you at a certain point.
That's what
Wilson actually made a good point.
No, I'm with you. That's the part of it. Like you went like for better or for worse, whoever take him, you gonna have to live through some of this trash that you had. You're gonna have to live through some early flags. He's a baby. Like at the position, he's a baby.
That's the thing. Through it, dog. You made a great point earlier, and you saying the fact that like you're gonna have to look at the personnel and see who we currently have on your team. And if I can, pair him up with somebody who's already a established vet. There's one thing coaching can get certain athletes. I mean, Ray, there's nothing you being on the field and teaching somebody and actually saying it to them. And if they're at your position, you take it a little better. So having somebody who's probably the number one corner already and who can teach this guy to the next level and may have had the issue already. Like if you pair him with a Jalen Ramsey, I'm like, all right, figure this thing out. This could be a thing that could be really well for him. He could take off from there because some of the issues could be fixed with reps. But some of the other stuff, if you're just sitting there saying, all right, day one, you're a number one guy, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You got to shade that safety over there a lot.
Yeah, hey, look,
So
if you're in a situation, I better cut you off. If you're in a situation where you're looking for CB1 immediately,
right.
don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay,
Don't do
so
it. Like you better be able to have some time. Be like, or if you're gonna do it, be with like. I guess my whole thing is if you're gonna do it where you can't be mad at the kid because you know who the kid is, you know what he's coming with, you know where he's coming in at. Don't draft him and be like, I need you to be Jalen day one. Because that ain't fair to him.
So that was my juxtaposition when you guys were talking. You guys are describing a number one corner. But I'm like, these things right here, like you can't do that. You can't have that. The last thing I'll just throw it to Justin. I know we've been on him for a minute. I was just wondering, did you notice any type of patterns, whether the receiver was big or it was small, that he was having those type of problems? Was it anything in particular that jumped out at you?
That's just his move. Like I feel like at a certain, it's at the break point. It's at the break point of every route is where you get the hands out. I mean, unless he gets where you want him in the pros, honestly, is you want him on the line of scrimmage, get his hands on immediately, where he dictates the route. And now you won't have that point where, because if there's space created, that's when the hands come out. So he has to be on top of you and control the receiver. And I mean, as a pro, you're basically hoping. I mean, like you said, hopefully you start him as a number 2 corner, you know, and you have a legit corner on the other side and let him just fight, be aggressive, and I mean that's his game right now. You're not gonna take him if you take him and play him in off coverage immediately. You're wasting a pick. Like he needs to be on the line of scrimmage pressing. And that's gonna be his game. And again, where it gets interesting, I think with a lot of the why everyone's so high on him is he hasn't been losing. Like this season he was winning reps. So like we're gonna get to guys later who had technique that's excellent and they lost reps. So now you're debating, okay, do we want the process or do we want the wins? Regardless of who you were fighting in those wins. You understand what I'm saying? Like he might have had a bunch of bad split decisions, but he was winning his matches, and some of these other guys did everything right and lost. And
we definitely value winning in this on this podcast. The winning is big to us.
Well, if you're winning in college and then you go to the pros and it's illegal, those aren't wins anymore. So I mean, it's a tough. Like I said, between some teams I might view him differently, but from what I hear, everyone seems to love him.
Yeah,
you know what's going to be big too? We've talked about this before. Is his resume, the receivers that he's faced previously, the fact that he's faced so many receivers that are going to be the next level. And I think that was a big thing. And I think that for evaluators was something that they loved. But if you go back and put that Bama tape on and watch the issues he had with those receivers, which I mean, a lot of people had issues with those receivers. Another guy later we're going to talk about that, a lot better in that game. But it was glaring in that game. The issues were glaring in that game. So you just hope that those things can be fixed at the next level.
Yeah, like you just got to end up somewhere where it's press or press bail,
right?
And if you're not running one of those two things and you pick them, that's on you. I'm not mad at JC Horn at all. I will not get mad at that kid at all because I want to know what you saw and was like, leave him over there and off. That's on you. Like he needs to have his hands on. Like in a perfect world, Seattle had a high enough pick. That's what you happily replace Shaq Griffin with. You go on with your life, don't question anything, whatever, and you're happy. But again, like he has to start early on, like Justin said. He got to have his hands on you early. But I guess this is the fun part too. Like with other positions, again, a recurring theme in this draft class. Do you have enough to coach him up to speed to where you're getting the good stuff quicker than later, or sooner than later, rather? And if you're not able to, you wasted a pick because you weren't able to get the kid caught up to speed. Now somebody that knows what they're doing, get their hands on them. Like maybe 6-7 games in, we can be like, what did they not teach you at South Carolina, sir? Why did they let you get away with that? You had that in you the whole time. Because some of the stuff where he's glitching, it's kind of like low key. Physically, you don't have to. You don't have to. Like, actually, bruh, you're okay. There's no reason to panic. But like what Justin said again, kind of opened my mind a little bit. If he's so young at the position, I can see why you panicking. Like you in the deep end. Them route runners take you to a dark place. You like, I don't see this in practice. Well, our dude's linear. They don't move like that. But hey, fun times. I'm looking forward to your rankings next week, right? You're gonna have people mad, and I'm here for all of it. All right, on to Greg Newsome the second, which is interesting because people, when we talk about some quarterbacks, they had issues against certain teams. Greg Newsome the second played on the Northwestern team that kind of was weird. It was an outlier of a year. Northwestern had a good defense this year. Normally, they don't do that at all. Greg Newsome was one of the reasons for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some Greg Newsome clips up here. I think I got him. Let you guys talk about
it. Newsome is he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's super technically sound. Just does everything well. Like he's actually like, for someone who studies corner and tried to play corner or coach corner, he's just fun to watch. Like his techniques on point. He can mirror. He matches routes. He can play zone, man, press, bail, off. Just a solid corner. Can redirect, double moves. He can fix his footwork, and he's just a good corner. I mean, his issue basically is he's been injured a few times, and I think that's the concern. But the more teams have watched this, I'm sure the more teams have watched this tape. Like you said, the coach is getting the scouting a little late. So when they start to watch him, that's why his name's been buzzing a little more recently, because he just does everything right. He's not physically imposing, but he's big enough. He's just a really good corner. And I think he's safe, but he's good enough to where you can put him out there day one and he can hold his own. And I think that's what teams need. That's what teams want.
Completely agree. I mean, it's somebody, like Justin said, if you're trying to teach the game itself and trying to teach the position, that's kind of the technique is where you go for him. That eye discipline's there. Feet are always in position. And I love players like that, who they're always in position to make a play, whether it be a pass breakup or an interception, or just make the throw harder for the quarterback. And those are the guys you always kind of want to have on your squad. Which, like you said, Northwestern's usually has to running back. That's really good. But after that, usually not. But the defense is really good in the situation because outside was playing the way they were playing. The one thing that kind of stood out a little bit to me was for somebody who's such a good technician on defense, he has more pass interference calls than I'm really comfortable with. I'd like to see what the issue is. Just certain games are called certain ways, how that goes. But it was just I looked at the numbers. I was like, that kind of stood out. But physically, you love watching him play. You love just watching his feet, hands, everything ties together. He used the right hands when turning the receiver for the punches. Like those are things that you really start checking off boxes when you're watching corners, and he checks off a lot of boxes.
All right, Ray, your early thoughts on Mr. Newsome, sir?
Go ahead, Wilson, because I'm trying. You know what? No, I'll just say it out loud. Is that what injuries are we talking about, Justin? You mute.
Picked it up for you, Wilson. It's little like a hamstring, ankle, like little, like not like season-long injuries, but just little injuries that the nagging type.
The nagging type. So which one? Remember King that went to the Texans of the first or second round, maybe like 4 years ago? What was his last name? King? The light-skinned dude went to the Texans first or second round, that corner.
Was it Kevin King?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Not Kevin King.
Kevin Johnson. Kelvin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson.
Johnson, the light-skinned dude, went in the first round. Which one is he more close to? Jones, that was on the Cowboys, that was from out of UConn. I'm trying to think of like smaller schools in my mind that just had an athlete that just did something.
He's probably more like Johnson, but actually, the player he reminded me more was Kyle Fuller, probably. Virginia Tech, but it was on the Bears, I think.
But he's like 6'1" though, right? Kyle Fuller a little shorter than that.
No, around the same. 6 foot,
Yeah.
5'11", 6 foot.
Okay.
But again, just a technician. I think, like you said, the injuries, that is a concern. But again, I mean, like, we only know so much, so I'm not going to pretend that I was there and he was. But I mean, we're not talking about an ACL or these certain type of injuries. But I mean, hamstrings and calves and ankles are, that's just part of the game, I guess.
What level of wide receiver are we getting when we playing at Northwestern?
He's in the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
It's good enough,
so,
yeah.
And again, the thing about Northwestern is, like, this isn't.
I ain't no Jesse. Don't judge me.
This isn't a guy that you get at Northwestern. I mean, like, Northwestern doesn't have guys like this. So when Northwestern gets one of these, it's like when Revis is at Pitt.
Yeah.
You get that guy and you say, you know what? We're gonna play defense a little different than we normally do. You know what? Us 10, you 10 guys are gonna play our normal defense. You know what? And you got him. That was his job. They put him on the boundary against the best receiver, and teams like even Ohio State, they went at him early through a pick and they didn't mess with him no more. Like, I think that's the type of guy you're talking about. Is like he's a lockup guy, lockup corner.
He knocks the ball down and goes to get the pick.
He goes for the pick. He's more of a knockdown guy. He's not the biggest guy in the world, so he ain't get picks. But he plays the ball well. So I mean, I think the picks will come. He's not one of them guys that's chasing the ball with his head facing the wrong way. So.
And where's he projected to go in the draft?
Probably corner 3 right now, or 4. So probably 15 to 20 maybe.
Ooh, 15 to 20. Is that too rich for your blood, Wilson?
Nope. Nah, because and y'all are gonna hear me, not just you guys, but folks watching. Regardless of the position group, my stance on this draft is probably gonna be like that the next couple of years. You're gonna have some people are ahead on the technique side. You're gonna have some people that is stupid physically gifted that just been waiting to be coached. Where you whisper a couple things, you're gonna look like the greatest position coach in the world, and you ain't do nothing but your job. Maybe even less than. But you also never had an athlete to work with like that. I think of all the guys, because we got guys on like all ends of the spectrum here, where you got the big, wild, crazy, beautiful looking athletes, like graceful the way that they move. But you just got to you got to clean some stuff up. But because of their athletic ability, they're fine. But you want to clean up the technique, right? Then you got the guys where their technique is so sound because they can't afford for it not to be. Then I think Newsom's kind of in the middle where, like Justin said, he's one of the dudes you probably overlook because he got enough of everything.
Okay.
But to me, he's one of the dudes who kind of has it all together. Like, again, if it wasn't Northwestern and you sub him to, like, say he went to Missouri, we talking about J.C. Horn, we talking differently. He just went to Northwestern. And, like, the only thing that hurt him is he went to a place that they don't get football players like this on purpose on a regular basis. Even the tackle prospect they got, Rashawn Slater, I don't know how the heck that happened. It accidentally did. That dude's special. Like Justin said, it's just because he went there. But again, he's in the Big Ten, so a lot of everyone's favorite players in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. He was over there doing what he had to do when people wasn't doing stuff on his side. He wasn't having it. Like, he was over there. When everybody's like, "Oh my God, Justin Fields struggled against Northwestern." Like, oh my God, he was better than anyone Justin Fields was throwing to. And I think Olave was missing that game. So he didn't have his number one wide receiver. And this is not an excuse, but I'm just saying. So you have a corner who might go top 20 or 30 in this draft. You don't have your go-to guy against the not go-to guys on Ohio State. Who do you think the advantage goes to? Newsom and company? My man, like, look, I got this side, man. Y'all good? Yeah, don't worry about it. And, everybody loves, the Rondale Moores, all this. Minnesota's in the Big Ten. Like, some of everybody's favorite receiver. Yeah, he's had again, when you guys were talking about Horn and a resume, you do a little digging. Newsom doesn't seem everybody's favorite wideout for the most part. And he's done fine, like Jesse said. Probably a little bit worried about the flags here and there, but again, I'm so comfortable with him just as the whole package. I ain't really worried about it.
And this kid's only 20. Is he the youngest one that you guys are looking at today?
I think one of a couple of the other guys are younger. We got a redshirt sophomore in here too.
Yeah, these is babies, man. Jeez.
And that's what I'm saying when we talk about Horn. Like it's littered with like, dog. They're so young. They're so young. So like even with Horn, the issues like you guys are saying, like, man, I don't know if I can put you out there because of this. They not the only team that's drafted high that wants a corner that's gonna be feeling that way.
Right.
It's just when you're going shopping, hey, it's your preference. Which one do I want? The super freaky athlete, where it's like, we'll figure it out. Like even if you get in trouble, you'll be fine.
Well, so you do realize like at least 10 people are going to get, at least 10 teams are going to fire whole staffs because of this draft, right?
Oh yeah, and I'm here for all of it. I mean, I root for a team where I'm comfortable with it. I don't care. That's not on me.
Like whole staffs are getting fired over it. This is a complete roll of the dice draft.
It's going to be like that in sports for like this year, next year, and probably the one after. Like people about to find out how everybody ignores scouts or whatever. Man, they all ain't equal. You about to see.
Yeah.
People about to be out here reaching for wild things for no reason.
But like you said though, but this is one of the kids that is like safe. Like everyone else has a defect. Each one of the prospects we're going to talk about tonight, next week, each one is like, and some of them are, were 6'2", 205, 6'2", 205, 4'4", or 4'3" with a 40-inch vertical, and then you have this kid who's similar stats, but maybe a little shorter. But technically, you know what you're getting. That's the difference. When when the room's on fire, he's not going to panic, and some of these other guys are. And that's what you're paying for. That's the 2 inches in height you're losing. You're getting the other part of it.
I'm also keeping my job when I bang the table for this kid. That's what I'm also doing. Like I'll be here to draft next year. Can't speak for everybody. I'm cool. I'm a friend.
This is also the guy too. Like you start looking at New England, like Belichick going, wait a minute. If he slides a little bit more, do I make one more move to get up to get somebody like that? So it's just because of that scheme and who he's playing with. I mean, if you put him on the other side of the field, he's that kind of person. He's that kind of dude with more reps are a real thing. So more reps under that kind of a system, he could be a star. So
fair enough.
All right, going to one of everybody's favorite corners, Sante Samuel Jr. So everybody's old, man. Young, this man's kid is in the league, boy. He about to be here already. It's a nice little reminder. Joe Horn's son, now Asante Samuel's son, but let the clip play. Jesse and Justin have at it.
Now he's a little different than the guys we've been through so far. He's smaller, but he's smaller, but he's really an outside corner. I mean, he's probably going to get moved inside just because of the height. And but I mean, when it comes to footwork, technique, I mean, he can match you, match routes. He's explosive breaking on routes. But the concern is there's nothing really wrong with being small, but it's the fact is he has some losses at the catch point. So I mean, when you're not playing big at the catch point, that's one of the things that gets you moved inside. Whether it's getting boxed out or someone going over the top of you. So I mean, he had one really bad game with Clemson where Clemson got had 6'4" receivers. I mean, he got benched in that game, which when you're the best player on the team, you don't normally get benched. So kind of says something. But I mean, when it comes to actually just matching up, you're getting one of the better corners in the draft when it comes to footwork, technique, and breaking on the ball. He's a really good player. So it's just, will a team trust to play him outside in a man situation? I mean, maybe a team plays some zone and puts him outside, but you just normally see guys like this get drafted and get put inside. So I mean, you hope not, but we'll see what happens.
It's funny because one of the evaluations I had on him, I had written, a positive was aggressive, but is aggressive. Like there are moments to where it works with and against him. But like Justin said, he's a good technician. There's moments where he'll get in a receiver's pocket, and I like that. But then there are moments to where he's out of position, certain points, or like I said, that catch radius when the ball gets to that high point. Is he too small to certain packages against certain receivers? I don't know, but I'm also into some situations where guys have been that size their whole life. And they kind of, you're going to lose some, but sometimes being that aggressive will help you as long as you're disciplined. So we'll see how that works out for him. But he has the pedigree.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, like, even as a scouting report would almost be like he's his father minus the ball skills, which, I mean, his father was I wouldn't say maybe a great player. You know, his father was borderline Hall of Famer, so it says a lot. But again, a lot of that was reading routes and jumping routes. So he plays like him. You know, they're similarly built and that type of thing. But it's just at some point the confidence to jump routes like his father did. That's what'll take his game to the next level, especially if he wants to stay outside.
And that same confidence in zone as his father had too. To certain points, he starts to a little bit too early. Depending if playing cover 3 or something nature, but if he has that same kind of ball, if he develops the ball skills like his father had, I mean that could be
Questions you have for him, Ray?
What's a bad game look like for him, Justin?
A bad game, meaning like,
give me what is his, like, if you were going to say, you know, just one of the games where it just he doesn't have it, or the game that you watched where you picked up a lot of things where you were kind of like what did that game look like? What was he doing?
The games with him he's not going to lose take off of like route running or that type of thing. It's just going to be
okay.
He lost to a bigger man, so it's not like, for the most part, it's not going to be, you know, they completed 7 passes on it, like, you know what I mean. But they might be 3 home runs or 2 home runs. That's going to be his issue. Is, are you willing to say, this is a guy he's sticky in coverage, he's going to be all over the guy, but sometimes how is he going to win over a 6'4" guy or a 6'3" guy or certain guys like that? And that's really the only question, because as a player, he has first round ability, he has top notch ability, but it's just there's tape of him losing, having some big losses, and if he can fix that, or are you okay with it? That's the question. You know what I mean? That's really the only question, because there's no real knocks on him as an actual player. It's just size. How do you know? And again, size isn't always an issue until it is an issue. Like, there's tape of it being an issue. Like, there's some guys who find a way to use the technique to win using their technique, or they use their vertical or whatever they do. But in his situation, he's had some losses, and that's just going to be something that's questioned.
No, Wilson always brings that up. Like, the dude's used to playing at that size. Like, you know, that's just his size. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's going to figure it out. I just worry about the dude that's, you know, 6'1.5" that's used to playing at his size too. Like, how do you guys, Jesse, how do you feel like does he win consistently enough that you're comfortable with that 6'1", 6'2" receiver?
Consistently is the key. I think that's the thing. He wins enough at certain points, but there are certain tapes where it does look bad. Like, I'd be worried about situations like, okay, you allowed Devontae Adams on the outside against him and Aaron Rodgers, and Adams is going to body you at certain points, and you're just going to probably lose certain reps. The thing is, if you're going to lose those certain reps, do you make the tackle at that point and give up as little yards as possible, or are you giving up the missed tackle for a touchdown? I think those are the questions you're going to have at that point. But some you got to live with. Some.
Wilson, we always talk about these guys playing with their size and they're going to figure it out. I just wonder, how do you feel about him going up against a little bigger competition consistently in the NFL?
All right, so I know we ain't been doing this too much, but like, he reminds me of like Verrett, like a whole lot, right? I think the big difference between him and Verrett is that Verrett, you can't tell he's a little guy at the catch point. My man can figure out a way. It might not be at the high point, but you're not bringing that thing down, or if you do, it's a fight all the way to the ground. I think that's the part Mr. Samuel Jr. got to figure out. A lot of times we got in trouble. I think he kind of panicked, like, oh, let me go for the ball. Nah, bro, it's on the top shelf. Let that thing come down and rake. So it's like those decisions, right? And then, like you said, when you make that decision, smaller guy, you try to go get it on the top shelf and you can't go get it. The play's over if no one's behind you. And that's what happens. Like, some of the guys, dude, high pointed, or you miss time, you jump at 5'10", that's it. But like you can afford to leave your feet all the time. And I think that's the big difference is like even coming out, Barrett was comfortable in that part. Like that never changed for him. Like dude always played like you couldn't tell dude was 5'10". It's except when they you knew he was 5'10" before the ball was snapped. After that, you couldn't really tell. Because after that, it's a war. Dude's Samuel's not there yet. If he could figure out that part, I'd be cool. But it is one of those. I think the other things is you can move him all around. Like I really like him. Someone just needs to work with him to figure out how to protect himself for that part of it. Because you're gonna deal with 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", whatever. It's the how can you still win when it's up there? Because he's not gonna be able to go up there and climb the ladder. He's not one of them type of dudes with it. But I think he can extend. And then other times he's fine. Like if it's breaking route and it's not vertical, he's cool jumping it, getting in front, swatting, all that. He's comfortable. I just think he doesn't know how to play it up top. So somebody just got to teach. But like Justin said, they all got their warts. His wart is that at 5'10", and I mean it's an issue because you're gonna be at that size. You got to figure it out. But I'm also one of the people where I'm kind of like, if he's at the end of the first round, I need a corner. I know from a coverage standpoint, the sticky is there. We just got to work on. We just got to drill that. It's gonna be a while. Like we working on that every day, bro. Go get big body
Justin,
teammates to figure that out.
Justin, when you guys were talking about the first two, you guys had specific things that you wanted them to work on. My only concern is that you're saying, we're going to work on this high point. I don't know how we can. I mean, we can coach him to jump later, or like Wilson said, strip it out. But it was just that you guys had specific critiques about the first two, and this one is just. I would just wish he was a little taller sometime. So it's like, is that going to be a concern for you though, going down the road?
I mean, if I was to pick him, I would play him outside first. I would definitely give him a shot outside first because he can do all the things. He can do all the things outside. So again, we're gonna run into some 6'2", 6'3" guys that struggle playing the ball. So it's not like, you know what I mean? With him, it's just basically the patience of getting the reps of saying, okay, I can't jump. We're not going to have a jumping competition. So whether it's just boxing out, whether it's whatever it is, it's just getting the right reps. And I mean, some of the guys he lost to were really talented receivers too. So it's not like this is it's a bad player. You know what I mean? Technically,
I know, but that's all he's going to see in the NFL, bro. That's why I'm asking. It's not like he's going to have like that week off.
Right. But I mean, it's not like he's getting beat 2-3 times a game with jump balls. Okay. So it's really just again, it's no one in the NFL. It could be 2-3 times a game. That's the thing. Is it's like, can we tighten up that one more? Because these other guys, you got some of these guys who have change of direction issues, where they're gonna be leaning the wrong way, and now we catching a slant running 70. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? I think that's the thing is you got a guy who's there. He's in position. So how do we help him to make the play? And I think you got to put him out there and let him work on it. I think.
Jesse, last question. Where's he projected to go?
Oh, good question. That I didn't even look up. I didn't even look that up.
Wilson?
Like I would say anywhere from like late first to second round.
Yeah, definitely.
Because again,
second round is good value pick. Good value pick in the second round.
I mean, I'm cool with him at the end of the first. Man, I like the coverage that much. Like
it's a deep corner draft too.
Like again, in a league where you're not allowed to touch people, and you able to stay connected.
Right.
Hey, look, man, me and you gonna just work through some things. Like, if anything, my talk's gonna be with the dude behind you. Protect little bro.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's the only way they could beat him, is putting that thing up there. That means when that thing go up, you need to be there. He did his job. You need to be there every time.
Well, also, not everyone is comfortable throwing jump balls. Like you know what I mean? Like that's the thing is you're gonna get a lot of teams. Because he's going to be there. So how many times does he make that quarterback recoil and go to the next option? You know what I mean? That's being there. That's huge.
I think at a certain point, too, it becomes that whole basketball analogy where centers bring the ball down and the guards strip it. So at a certain point, there's that either punch out, punch up, something to where if you're in a situation, this is what you have to do. And like Justin said, you may not be in a situation that many times in a game. It could be 2 or 3 times in a game. But when you're in those 2 or 3 times a game, Here's what you should do. You know, it could be the safety behind you. It could be the punch. It could be the strip. Ball comes down. You know, guys have quick hands, and you teach that hand quickness to her. It comes down to their chest. Now you're both the same size. Ball comes out. So, you know, those are the things that you can sit there and work on in practice. If you're in this situation, this is what differentiates a lot of coaches too. Situational football. If you're in the situation, this is what we're going to do. And that way, when he gets it, he doesn't panic.
Well, look, Wilson reads your comments. I don't, y'all. So you don't waste your time on me. But my job is just to test their ideas and draw out why they feel the way that they do. You know, so sometimes it does get redundant, but we have to drill down. I want to know exactly why they feel the way that they do about any given subject or whatever, because I don't want it to be repetitive, especially for you guys. I want to ask different questions. I want to get different answers from them so that it's not repetitive for you guys either. So don't waste your time on me. Like, I'm on Twitter, but I'm not really on Twitter like that. Like, you could bother Wilson, but he don't care either.
Nah, it's Justin and Jussie. They got their handles up there. Bottom of the screen, man. We team don't care.
The two dudes on the bottom don't care at all. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, you can say a lot of this stuff to either one of them. Either you're going to get your feelings hurt, or they just don't care. So, like, it's just...
I got nothing. Yeah,
it's life, not mine.
Yeah.
So that's how you want to waste your time. I found other ways to kind of wind down. You tweeting at me, cool, no problem. But nah, like you said, Ray, like I think that's the only thing. Like, again, this is the weird part. Like, everyone's warts is different, and his wart sucks because it's literally just, bro, if you was 2 inches taller, I feel better. But at the same time, we got some of these other dudes who play his size, and it's like, bro, could you wake up? And I don't know, when you woke up this morning, you 6'2". The ball's in the air. Do you mind being 6'2"? At least with him, I know he's not 6'2". Like, he can't do nothing about it to a degree. So I mean, like, there's things you can do. And again, like, I think it's workable, like you guys said. And the other thing is, no disrespect to all these NFL wide receivers, all of y'all ain't Allen Robinson with the top shelf grabbing. So some of y'all sweet with it. So there's a whole bunch of y'all that are kind of sweet with it, where quarterback don't even feel comfortable throwing to you. They hit you in the chest and they like, I'm sick of this. They definitely ain't putting that thing in the air. But yeah, again, just technique, walling off, figuring out things. But like for me, the sticky. The sticky. When you can't, we talk about people like, oh man, my hand's not on him. I'm worried. I ain't worried about that. And I kind of like, no disrespect to his pops, I kind of like that he don't jump as much as pops. Kind of like it.
Oh, pops is super. Is Marcus Peters like jumping everything?
Yeah. And when it works, it's love. But I kind of like that part about him. But hey, on to Tyson Campbell, one of those guys we're talking about that is blessed with so many different things. And, you know, can you be 6'2" sometimes, buddy? If you don't mind, you know, while you're there, if you want to make a play. But I'm not going to steal this. Go ahead, Justin.
This is a tough one. This is a tough one, man. I gotta read what I wrote. I can't even say it. I can't even like just paraphrase it. So I put, has cornerback one potential, well built, physical cover man, elite athlete, has all the tools. Needs to find a better balance between being aggressive and wild, good size and disruptive, competes, has issues locating the ball but always in position, has to just relax and finish the play. Versatile and athletic enough to match up with all different types of receivers, has great twitch and explosive athlete, but finds a way to lose reps too often. And I think that's what you're doing when you're dealing with a guy who's 6'2", can play in the slot, plays with good bend, great bend, can match, can good footwork, breaks on the ball, athletic, like I said, can explosive, can do it, can pretty much do it all, can tackle, but just he'll be running next to a receiver and just watch him catch the ball, or he doesn't get his head around. Like that's his issue. But you're talking about a guy who who has cornerback. In 3 years, he could be the best corner in his whole draft. There's a few guys like that, but it just finds a way to lose reps. But again, you got to give him some credit because they have another corner that's going high, but he's the one that took all the tough matchups. So you're going to lose reps. You know, he had an ugly rep. I mean, the only rep I've really seen him lose was against Waddle, which was really bad. But But for the most part, he's in position consistently. So really, like you said, it's just finishing plays. How does he finish plays? Or can he learn to finish plays?
No, that's one of the things that it was the fact of losing reps at certain points because he was always in position, and that kind of confused me at certain points. It's like, plus the little things, like Justin said, getting your head around, making sure your hands are in the right place so that you can get back upfield or under the throw, sticking your foot in the ground and just getting back up instead of doing that 3 or 4 foot chop. Little things that I like the fact that, like I said, he's in position quite a bit, and I think that helps him. And that's something that if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm looking at that, and that actually, I don't know, that makes me feel better that he's usually, and he has all the physical tools. Am I the guy that's going to coach all that up to make him a star? And is he in the right scheme to do so? He can be. He can be. It's just the small things at the point of attack when the ball's getting to the receiver or out of the quarterback's hands, clean those things up.
Right.
It sounds like you guys love everything neck down, and neck up, you guys are kind of terrified. So Jesse, I'll start with you. What is it that's standing out to you that we're not talking about him as okay, let's take it out of the corner because you guys aren't talking about corner stuff. You guys are talking about like disappearing, effort, concern, focus. You're talking about that kind of stuff or whatever. So what is it about that stands out to you that's so concerning to me?
It's the glitch. It's the little. We used to teach, Ray, you know that I feel with us. We used to teach, and at certain points where ball's in the air, the last second, we always say it's that last 2 or 3 steps that either win or lose. Whether it's a completed pass and you're making a tackle versus if you clean that small thing up, you could have got an interception on that play. You could have had a pass break. It's almost like he's doing a formula in his head at a certain point, and he gets to the end of that formula, and he can't figure out the last two equations, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, I got it now, but the play's already passed.
Wilson, are we talking about a lack of dog, or are we talking about a lack of focus? I can work with one of them.
It's a lack of focus, man. Like, you know what he screams to me? And there's a bunch of dudes like this. He's like that. He's that Akella Witherspoon, Kevin King thing, man, where everything you like, bro, if you figure it out, boy, I got me something wonderful here. But like you said, I can't trust you to finish plays. Because there's times I can see you, I'm going to use Akella, for example. There's times I see you out there against Mike Evans holding the boy to a donut. Then you turn around next week, you got Stephon Diggs in a torture chamber, and then the ball's in the air, and that boy downfield for 65 yards. What are you doing, sir? You go to Kevin King in the playoffs. That little dude can even run by you, but what were you doing not paying attention? Like, you got the feet of the little dude. Like, they're those type of, like, they're tough, man. But they're also the type of dudes I'm not spending a first round pick on y'all, either one of them dudes, because of that part of it. Like, if I'm spending a pick, I'm not even taking you at the top of the second round. Like, for me, it's like middle of the second round, then I feel like I got value, because the upside is if I can unlock the thing to get you to get you consistent, because that's all it is being consistent. I got a first rounder in the second round. But if I can't unlock that thing, that keeps me from that gives me great pause, and I'm not taking you in the first. It's too many questions.
Justin, how high have you seen him consistently mocked?
He's early second, late first. He's gonna go late first just because of his athletic ability. Like, that's, like you said, tools. I mean, you 6'2" corners go early. 6'2" corners who are athletic and have good feet, good footwork. They go on the top. He's gonna go before some of these other guys that we like, probably. I mean, that we like more. But again, he's a guy that, like, if you watch the right tape at the right time, he could be your cornerback 1 or 2. You know what I mean? But then you watch the wrong game, he could be undrafted. Like, it's just that he's that guy where he's in position and whatever, he don't get his head around. Then next time he gets his head around and loses contact with the receiver. Like, it's like you said, it's focus, because it's not athletic ability, because he can do everything on the field. So, I mean, I've seen him in the slot against guys who he shouldn't be, quick receivers that slot corners struggle with, and he's patient. He's super patient at the line of scrimmage. I didn't say earlier, like, he's ridiculously patient. He's got a good jam. He can move his feet. It's just finishing plays. I think someone sent us a picture of, said, what's his name? Kirkpatrick from
Dre.
And I mean, that's another guy who in college,
That's it.
You thought he was the next step. He was the guy, and in the NFL, it just never clicks. But again, guys like that, they never go hungry, because someone's gonna say, you know what, they don't know what they're doing. Send him over here. So that guy, he's gonna be in the league for 10 years. It's just what's the impact he's gonna have. And again, I like him a lot. That's what's scary, because me and Wilson, we're big fans of 6'2" guys who can move. You get a 6'2" guy and put him in the slot, 6'2" guy who can actually get in a stance. Who can sit in the stance, not get in a stance and has to keep standing up because his back don't bend properly. Like, this is a guy who should be better.
Hey, Wilson.
Yep.
We're not going to wait to the second round, bro. We're not. He's not going to be there. I'm going to take him at the bottom of the first, but I'm going off of your scouting report. What's the percentage? Just give me a percentage, just so I know, so that when we back here in a year, 2 years, I can either give you a promotion or a raise. What's the promotion that he's checking out? I mean, what's the percentage that he's checking out, or the percentage that he's focused? You're saying he's more, it's just a focus thing. But what's the percentage?
Hey, man, it wouldn't be me telling you to do it in the first round. I gotta feed my family.
No, what I'm saying is, me as the owner, we all got together and we're like, he's not going to be there in the second, because we drafted at the bottom of the first round, because we have the best scouting department in the league.
As long as you can score that,
we knock it out the park, bro.
2 years, I'll give you an answer. But bro, it's.
So you would be banging on the table, don't do this in the first. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'd be banging on the table, don't do this unless you're willing to go with the ups and downs of it. Like, if we committed to it, we riding the whole 3 or 4 years out, cool. Let's ride the ups and downs together. But because the other side of it is like again, I hate to go back to Akello. I perfectly expect this boy to go to Seattle and be perfectly fine. I fully expect from the bottom of my heart to go to Seattle and be everything that the Niners thought he was going to be when they drafted him.
Oh, Jesse.
No, I'm dead serious, because, like, literally, that's who he reminds me of. You watch him move and you're like, bro, that's not normal. You 6'2", there's no way in hell you're comfortable with them little itty bitty dudes, and you just like, when you done shaking, which way we going? That's how comfortable they are. Then it's
Jesse, we're gonna draft this kid. And look, we don't really have we got like one half a corner. He gonna be out there. What kind of season this kid gonna have at the end of the year?
More if he's your guy starting number one, it's gonna be more losses than wins. And I think that's where you kind of say, all right, everybody, listen, I understand this is gonna be our season. We're gonna get the best we can out of them. We're gonna use it as a teaching year, try to whatever we can next year, get a number one corner and the 1B and hope that all the things that we're hoping tie together. And like, that's the thing, you're gonna have to live with not a bad first year, but some bad moments in that first year. And say, okay,
hey, Justin, you remember that year that Moss lit up the Cowboys for 3 catches, 3 touchdowns at the Thanksgiving game?
Yeah.
The next year, the Cowboys drafted 5 corners, 6 corners, something like that. So we're having that type of year where we're just going to get a bunch of corners. Is he still starting at the end of the year, Justin?
Who's that? This guy?
Yeah.
It's your what is your purpose? Like, if your purpose is to draft,
he's out there. He's number 1 and number 2. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he's out there.
So if he's playing, no matter what, you're gonna have ups and downs. You have a week where he shuts down Odell Beckham. You're gonna have a week where he gives up 3 blown assignments. And if you, as long as it's not, I mean, if you're in that situation where like Green Bay, where they want Kevin King dead because, you know what I mean? They want to have death threats on this guy because he blew a coverage in the playoffs. That's one thing. But if you're going to put him out there and say, we're gonna ride with the ups and downs, and he's gonna improve, we're gonna coach him and whatever, like kind of like how Dallas was with Diggs this year. They just let him play. Ups and downs. He's a better player than Diggs. So, I mean, that's what you're getting. And now Dallas looks at Diggs like he's the core of the team. Not realizing, you know, he ups and downs. But this is a better player than Diggs. So, I mean, I think, like you said, it's just what your plan is. If you're gonna let him ride and go out there and fail and have his, you know, just keep coaching him and learn from his mistakes, you might have a player in a year or two. But if you're gonna keep pulling him, then he's definitely gonna do some stuff that's gonna make you want to pull him. So that's on you.
This draft gonna be fun. That's all I got. I got nothing else. That's it. Draft's gonna be great. Ray, you had any other questions? You ready to move on to Mr. Kelvin Joseph?
No, we know what the problem is here.
Wait till you get to this one. You're not out the woods yet. Kelvin Joseph from Kentucky. Here you guys go.
Now, this might possibly be the best corner in the draft, but
I love when Justin does that. That's one of my favorite things in the world. Justin's about to go into something.
Yo, you might be the love of my life, and I'm going to marry you. But I hate your face.
No, listen, man. This is my guy, man. And I made a list and put him 1. I just can't. You can't be corner 1 when he's special, man. He's a special, just talented dude. Originally was at LSU and was getting reps as a freshman on a team that had NFL players. Went to Kentucky and they treated him again, just like we talked about the other guy, Newsome. Like they locked him up, put him on the best receivers. He's got tape of him going against Pitts. He's got tape of him shutting down Devontae Smith. Like legit, they tried him a few times and couldn't get nothing on him. He got a pick and he's good. I mean, you can put him inside, outside, quick feet, breaks on the ball, gets his head around, and he's one of the few guys who I've seen who can actually take away the fade and the back shoulder, because he's that what's the word? He's that flexible to play the top shoulder and see it and react back down to the low shoulder. Like he's just on the football field, he can play, he can tackle. There's nothing he can't do on a football field, but the problem is his coaches hate him. Like he just does stuff to make him. He's either suspended or he asked Kentucky if he could leave, and they was like, "Please do." You know, same thing with LSU. Like, yeah, we'll waive. You don't even got to sit out a year. Just please don't come back. You know. So I've heard he fought a coach. I heard weed. I heard anything you can imagine. So if you can overlook those things, you might have a player. I mean, and not to mention his burgeoning rap career, which, you know, and we all have a mixtape. So I mean, if you can get past those things, you can have the best corner in the draft, and you probably can get him a little later because of the character concerns. And again, I wasn't there for any of it, so I can't co-sign it 100%. But if everybody's saying it, some of it got to be true.
It's funny because it's like everything is there that you want him to do. You know, I mean, it was the Bama tape. Like, as much as I try not to blame, you know, form an opinion off of one particular game, it was that Bama tape and the way he had played certain, you know, the receivers in certain positions, certain situations, fade to the goal line, and he just bodied them. Like, it's the way you teach it. So sometimes it's great, but if you're getting asked to leave a party, like, I don't want to keep inviting you to my parties. Like, if you just, so there's something. I don't know what it is. I guess as a coach, you're just hoping you don't get that phone call at 3:00 in the morning. That, you know, or that now with so many social media outlets. The video doesn't pop up. Get a hold of something. ESPN doesn't get a hold of something, and this is your number one corner now. So I have to do a lot of. This is where the NFL, I guess, is really good in the sense that they have their own guys. They can go out and get a ton of information, anything they're looking for, anything they really want to find out. They want to find it out, but that's probably what I have to do to figure out how big are the issues. And if I don't think they're that big, or I think they're just something that, as his age, he did these certain things, and we have enough grown-ups in the room to kind of help age out of it, then you probably have a star on your hands.
Yeah. Also, I think even as a player, like, just to say weaknesses, I think it's eye discipline. Like, it's discipline on the field. He'll be in zone, and I mean, Ray had this problem for years. Was he's guarding his man in its zone, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's locked into certain things. He's like, I got him. I'm not getting beat by him. And
because the dude be talking junk. That's not fair.
Right. so I mean, I just those type of things. But again, it's just needs to play more. And I think for me, in his defense, I'll say he might be the type that just like he came to college to go to NFL. Like, that was his purpose. I'm here to play. I know how good I am. I was a 5-star recruit. I'm gonna do what I got to do, and I'm going to the league. And I some people have that, and he's that type. You could tell, like, I mean, to leave as a redshirt sophomore, he was just ready to go, and maybe he gets there and gets around men and just starts playing ball because he can play.
That's one thing, though, and I don't know. It's certain things. What said he went to school to go to the NFL. Like, college is to prepare you for whatever your next job is. So for certain kids, they're looking at it saying, "That's my next job." Like, I know that's my next job. So for him, he may have looked at it just like that. Like, I'm not gonna be here for long, but I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna get out.
Wilson was laughing. What you laughing at, Wilson?
Because my man was like, my man essentially was like, how talented you got to be on the field as a corner on the LSU team he was on. 1, 2. My man was legit, was like, I gotta be here, so I'm here. I don't plan on seeing none of y'all where I'm going. Because he just burned every bridge, apparently, and didn't care. Look, man, like, hate to say it, he's not the first or last NFL player with this general disposition. There's gonna be some team that's like, I truly don't care. I want a CB1, and I'm gonna draft you wherever. Yeah, like you said, the character concerns, I'm sure it'll probably knock him down a bit. So some team may have a chance at him that had no business having a chance at him. But at the same time, all teams that have an opportunity to draft him may not have the culture waiting for him to come into to get the most out of him. So, the other thing, like Justin said, from at least a football standpoint, my man got some bad eyes. Just is what it is. There's a lot of stuff he does well. Like, there was one of the clips, I think Elijah Moore got him or something on a Get Vertical. It just because his eyes is bad. I don't know why, what you was looking at, boss. I don't get it. Later in the game, Elijah Moore, I think, tries to get by him, and he just, where are we going? Where do you want to go, sir? So it's like, from a talent standpoint, is everything you want. Again, you're good enough to be on the field at LSU as a freshman. The general disposition, it's not for everybody. But again, fun times, not the first or last kid like this. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up in a bottom of round 1, even though everybody's screaming character concerns and all that other crap. Again, looking at this year, all the stuff that people have, all these players have, a lot of people got issues with them that hardly got anything to do with football.
Justin, I know why I'm here now. I figured this out because I thought you was going to stop inviting me weeks ago. I know why I'm here now. Ravens, Pats,
Yes,
Seattle,
yes.
and possibly the Titans. I think what you guys are saying is not what I think. There's 4 teams in the league with strong enough locker rooms to keep this kid in a place where he needs to be.
Yes.
I don't think the problem is going to be his ability. Like, it's easy to read like y'all vibe when you like a dude. When you like a dude, Wilson sit up, he straighten his beard. Like, look, man, this kid put the time, effort.
Man,
So,
it's my guy.
so you can tell when you like a dude, right? But it's in this situation, unfortunately for him, it's not about him. It's about the team that's going to draft him. You got to be able to keep this guy on track. That's 2 programs that let you go. Like, of course, it's going to be one. Look, I'm a Dallas fan. I used to listen to them Bad Most Dez every day, so I don't believe nothing that come out of locker rooms. So let's be clear. I'm not siding with them. I'm just talking about perception becomes reality to a lot of people. That's all I'm saying. And if he is having some type of troubles that's keeping him focused on the football game, which he's going to be getting paid to do now, which is not a game anymore, this is how he's going to feed his family. Man, guys, I only count about 4 teams that's going to be strong enough to keep this guy focused. So I think it's more about the teams that's going to draft him and not so much about him. And whatever it is that he's going through, you know, like, it's a young black man, I want him to get his help and I want him to get his bread. But this is more about what team he go to. This kid goes to the wrong team and he's done, y'all.
Yep. I hardly agree. He go to the wrong team is Rashad Robinson.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No matter what we say about any of these dudes, understand we black men, we want them all to succeed. Like, we just doing this on like a football game, scouting, just looking at things thing. But I wish the best for the kid, but you know, 2 teams, perception becomes reality a lot of times in our society.
Because we don't, and it's one thing that one of my college professors taught me. He was like, "You're not going to get a ton of chances." He's like, "You aren't going to get a ton of chances." He's like, so in certain situations, he was harder on me. And the question I had for him was, why? Why you didn't pick on me constantly? He was like, because you aren't going to get a ton of chances. So when you finally get that shot, you're going to have to make it. And I'm hoping, I hope whoever he's around at this point, I'm always rooting for somebody who had issues in the past can finally get themselves together. Because, you know, we got a ton of family and people around that had the same situation. So you're just hoping for him that he's around enough adults to be like, all right, I was there. This is what I did. And he takes it.
or just it all clicks. Just it all comes together like, okay, you know what? Now this is serious now. And he's because, you know, now football is your job. Like you talked about, now that this is your career now. So he takes it seriously and because the talent's there. So.
There's going to be guys that you could draft that you're not going to have to worry about that for a while, though, man.
Yeah, but like you said, if the teams, if he, like Wilson was saying, he goes late first, those are the teams that are good. A lot of those teams have good cultures. Teams with good cultures.
Yo, I low-key want Dallas to draft him so he could be the one to powerbomb Jerry Jones. but that's just a personal thing I got with Jerry right now or whatever. But no, I wish the kid the best, man. I really do.
Yeah, like, and that's the tough part with him is the landing spots everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to come up for that team, if you got a coach in place, the come up's real. You probably got like a top 15 talent in the 2nd or 3rd round, which is stupid. Because again, like you've heard how people talk about Marcus Peters.
Mm-hmm.
You can say whatever you want to say about him. He probably better than your CB1. Whatever team you root for, you can say whatever you want to say about it. But if there was an opportunity for your team to get him, you a fan, you're like, hey, what's it cost? It can't cost too much, right? It's Marcus Peters.
Wilson, is that the NFL comparison?
No.
What's the NFL comparison?
Oh, for him? Sheesh. Oh, boy. And you going to do me like that?
Yeah, you next. Justin looked up. I seen him looking, trying to grab him.
That's tough. What's he, 6'1", 6'2"? Oh,
yeah,
boy.
6'1", 192.
Oh, boy, I like him a lot, too.
Joe Hayden?
Nah, I think boy, that's I might say something sacrilegious, so I ain't gonna say it.
6'1", gotta be.
I'm gonna say this. Best case scenario, he might end up reminding people of somebody else who went to school where to the school he attended as a freshman. He has a chance to land in the upper echelon of people that play that position at that school. That's it.
The guy we wanted, just.
That's all I'm gonna say. Possibly. I'm gonna leave it there. That's it. That's all I got. Just without the polish, but in terms of just talent, like I said, man, dude's legit Rashad Robinson, man. Like Rashad Robinson's a talented individual. Oh, nothing wrong with that boy in football. Everything else was wrong though. I don't know if he's as far gone as Rashad, but talent-wise.
But there's some.
I cannot think of the name. I can only think of just show some clips. I can't remember the name.
There's some switch he's hitting because when he's on that field, he's locked in. Like you got, like I said, you got tape of him. I mean, he lost 1 rep to Pitts, but he has some great reps against Pitts. He has some great reps against Devontae. He has some great reps against Elijah Moore. Like these are first round players. These are top 10 players, and he's guarding them easily. You know what I mean? And without any help. So it's, So
yeah, you got a chance to be one of them dudes out that school where you like, yeah, DBU.
That's crazy.
But now I ain't saying that name. Y'all not coming for me. I refuse. Now, if he act up the first 2 years, I'm gonna reference this moment. Then I happily say that name, but I ain't saying it now. Y'all gonna leave me alone. I think the last one we had tonight was Marco Wilson out of Florida. Again, with the folks with tantalizing talent that just drive you nuts. He fits this box. So Ray, I'm sure you can enjoy this one.
I could sum this one up real quick if you remember the Campbell guy we talked about from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
This is him, but like even worse version, like even more like just a lot.
All right, this is not going to be in my top 5.
No. But again, this is a guy who, again, if you watch the right tape, this is a good player. What's funny is actually they went to the same high school. Them two and Surtain went to the same high school, and just somehow Surtain's the only one that's polished. But these two dudes, like, they're probably better movers than Surtain. They both play inside, outside. They can mirror. They can run with you. They're great athletes, but something about just when it comes time to make the play, something goes short circuits. But if you watch him move, it looks like you're an NFL corner. He plays like an NFL. He has potential to be an NFL starter, a good NFL starter. So really, it's just ironing some things out. And with his brother played in the league, so this is a good player. Just you got to iron some things out, the mental lapses and that type of thing.
Yeah, not much beyond that. This is the thing that I don't know if anybody else saw it, but did it seem like at a certain point in his tape he just peaked? Like him getting better just stopped, and it could be some little things. It could be that the little things we always looking for on film that people improve over time. That never came. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something. If I'm the defensive coordinator, am I saying, all right, I can coach it out of him and get him to the next level, or is that just him?
Right. I mean, his best year was his freshman year, which doesn't even make sense.
And that's what makes me nervous. Is like that's your best year, and your technique and the things in the game hasn't got a ton better since then.
But he's the type that can walk in the league and hold his own just off of natural ability, and that's scary in both ways. Scary in a good way, scary in a bad way. It's just he's good enough to play in the league, and it's just can he not make those mistakes? Can someone tighten those little things, whether it's a false step at the top of the route, whether it's not finding the ball, whether it's his eyes being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. But there's too much good tape for him not to get a shot. And not to mention he had an insane pro day with like a 4.3 and a 40-something inch vertical and all that type of stuff. So he has the talent, he has the ability, he has the movement skills. So it's just, again, can you fix these little things?
NFL comp?
I don't even know. Think. I don't know. I can't. I don't even.
You got it, Wilson. Go ahead, man.
You had to find an answer. I had to go search for one. Give us something. It's like, look, man, the kid's really talented. This is somebody I take like in the middle rounds and feel like I got really good value, right? Because it's somebody who, if a couple more things were right, wouldn't be available in the middle rounds. like I think Justin was saying earlier, got a lot of guys that's supremely talented, but their warts or defects, whatever you want to call it, man, like depending on what it is, it shifts them by a round or two. And this one of the dudes where you kind of like just, bro, what's wrong? Like out the box, he's probably out the box more gifted than some of the folks we talked about tonight. And we out here trying to figure out what is wrong. He's definitely in that Tyson Campbell box where it's like, why?
Right.
But why? You literally just want to ask the kid, but why? Like this is also the kid that threw the shoe in that big game too. This is that kid.
Okay.
There's some reference for you, right? But yeah, like you just want to know why. But like if I had like a 4th round pick and my man's chilling, I'm like, yeah, I might get me a starter out of this. I mean, I just got to figure out what's up. Like, was it too easy? Does he need a foot up his butt all the time? Is it something as simple as once I get paid, I'm cool? Like, and this is also a thing where, older folks don't want to hear that, but man, all these kids ain't about to be out here doing everything they can possibly do and not get paid. Like, I hate to be the one to break it to some of y'all. That whole school spirit and all that stuff, man, these kids don't care about all that. Not with the money that's being printed. Is it wrong? Am I saying it's right or wrong? That's a whole nother discussion. I don't care, but we've seen in the past couple of years where some of the players, multiple players, we seen have issues, you question it, whatever. They start getting a paycheck and we're like, I thought you had but didn't you? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's one of them guys, but yeah, he's in the mid-round pick, man. I take him in a heartbeat.
Compensatory Wilson. All right.
Oh yeah, man. That's the come up. That's a mid-round lottery ticket. I'm taking that all day.
Wilson. I got you. Jesse, I didn't mean to cut you up before. Go ahead, bro.
No, I mean I don't have much else to say outside of that. That's it.
In a heartbeat. Fourth round me, please. Come on down.
Wilson, you got to start making Jesse go first sometimes, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's chilling over there. You got to put some pressure on him, bro.
Oh, man. He good, man. Because, look, this is going to be – what's it called? I think when we get to we got a couple groups we're going to get to. Even the next cornerback group. It's going to be fun. That fire's going to get a little bit hotter because we got some fun names coming up. This is just the very, very beginning. But now, man, it's a lot of these. And, again, I know y'all going to get sick of hearing this. So many really talented people, and you just trying to figure out what's wrong. That's this draft across all positions, even quarterbacks. I know some of y'all acting like some of these dudes bulletproof. No, all of them got something wrong with them too. Just a matter of what can you fix it, and are you lying to yourself about the stuff you can fix? That's it. That's literally it. But this corner group, a fact, it is insanely deep. A fact, they are supremely talented. Another fact, they're wildly across the spectrum as far as consistency goes for a myriad of reasons.
Right. Yeah. So like you said though, what's going to come down to is which defect are you comfortable with? Each team's going to have a different answer. Okay. I want the guy that's ceiling might not be as high, but I know what I'm getting. I want the guy with. I think we can fix it. We got a good culture, so the character guy, we'll get him. Hey, these guys have all the tools, but we can help them with ball skills. This guy's grabby, but we know how to work with guys who are who pass interfere, whatever. So like I think it's just gonna be that's what makes the draft so interesting is everyone's boards are gonna be totally different.
Crazy.
You had any other questions, Ray, or?
Nah, man. We've been at it. We cut it up tonight.
All right. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I know two guys that I think Jesse and Jesse we're gonna get to probably maybe next week or just in passing. We got Mr. Griffin and Mr. Graham, and they might fit better in a different cornerback group. So I got them held off to the side. This might not be the week for them per se, but we'll get to them for those of you watching that do want to hear our takes on Mr. Elijah Griffin and Mr. Thomas Graham Jr. But this has been episode 5 of NFL Ruckus, man. Y'all have a great night. We'll be back sometime soon.